Hello, everybody, and welcome to my tips on concealed carry, sponsored by Gideon Optics. This is a video that I've thought about making for a long time, and only in the last week have I decided that I'm going to go ahead and make it. I need to lay down some ground rules before you watch this video. First of all, I'm taking a legal risk by making this video. If I get into a defensive shooting tonight, this video will be substantive evidence in court to show that I held myself out as an expert and that I had prepared and planned ahead on how I would terminate another person's life given various scenarios. Does that seem legally risky to anybody else? So I'm doing this because I hope that this information may save one of your lives or may help you to be more prepared, and I am willing to risk my legal status to do that. The flip side of that coin is that everything that I say today is worth what you paid for it. I have not been a lawyer for 15 years. I was never a lawyer in Texas. And you have paid nothing for this video. It is not legal advice. And really, seriously, if you get into a defensive shooting and you do something that you shouldn't have done, and your defense to judge and jury is, well, I saw a guy on YouTube do it, so I thought it was cool, it's not going to be a good defense for you, okay? It's not going to go well. Get training, know your local laws, know what your situation is in the state where you live, and educate yourself. Because YouTube, I'm giving you some tips and tricks. This is scratching the surface, okay? Speaking of scratching the surface, I have spent a lot of time and money in classes, and you need to take classes, okay? Yes, that's the expensive part. People think guns are expensive. Guns are not expensive. Getting good with guns is expensive, okay? You save a couple $100 by buying a Gideon red dot instead of one of the more expensive red dots. Spend that couple $100 on a class, okay? Spend it on training. This dot will do its job. You'll be fine. It will help you out in your hour of need, but you need the class, okay, more than you need another gun. And I say that owning a ton of different pistols. I will probably drop some names of some instructors that I have worked with. I've traveled across the country. I've spent a lot of money. Instructors, if you're watching this, please understand I'm not trying to give away the store. Okay, I'm hopefully some people will hear of you in my video and will decide they want to learn more. I don't mean to give away the things that you charge people money for. Okay, so hopefully my instructor friends will be understanding. There's going to be a lot of talking and not much shooting in this video, but we are going to get some shooting in. So down here in Houston, Texas, it's always hot and humid. We only have two seasons, summer and not summer. And generally what I carry is two guns. I carry a primary, which is generally the PDP compact. That's a Gideon Omega with a green circle dot on it. And then I carry this snubby as a pocket gun. I don't call it a backup gun. I'll explain this later. There are times and situations when this gun comes out first, but I don't carry a spare magazine. I carry a spare gun. None of these guns have weapon lights on them. I carry a handheld light. I'll explain that too. If I'm especially fat that day, my t-shirt's especially tight, and I feel like this is going to print too much, depending on the situation, and I really don't want to be spotted, I really don't want to be caught, I will carry the Glock 48 with Valor Mini on it in red. And this is slimmer, it's easy to hide, it's more difficult to shoot well. I'm probably going to do a demonstration of that for you. If it's wintertime, and or as close to winter as Houston gets, and I get to wear more than just a t-shirt, I will sometimes roll heavy, and I will carry the VP9 Tactical with a Mediator 2 on it. And this gun will print pretty badly unless I have other cover garments covering it up. I'll try to demonstrate that later too. Finally, I brought out the old 1911. I love 1911s. I love shooting them. 45 ACP, 2 World Wars. But this, unfortunately today, is mostly going to be an example of why I don't carry these guns. I do have a holster for it. It has been carried, but this is not in the carry rotation or whatever you want to call it. It is not a serious carry gun for me, and I will have to explain why. Without any further ado, let's hit the range. Okay, we're going to start out with what I actually carry 99% of the time. I don't really have a carry rotation. I have one setup that I carry almost every day, and I alter it very rarely and only in certain circumstances. I am 49 years old. I am 5'6". I am 228 pounds. I am actually obese. I know this. sometimes the people in the comments remind me of that. Why do I bring that up? Because I'm going to show you some stuff that works for me, for somebody that is my age, height, and body weight. And if you are my age, height, and body weight, you might try this stuff out. A lot of guys are out there, especially the Instagrammers. They're really fitness influencers. You know, they've got a 1% body type, and they're really big guys, and they can squat the world, and they can deadlift the world. And then they're like, let me tell you how to conceal carry. Bro, your body's not shaped anything like mine. Okay, your concealed carry advice is not going to really work for a guy with a BMI that's over 30. Okay, do I wish that I had six-pack abs? Yeah, but you know what I like more than six-pack abs? Burritos and hot wings. Anyway, primary is my Walther PDP. It is in a Filster. I believe this is a classic Filster. I like Filster holsters. Good people, John and Sarah. They are good people, and they're worth spending your money with. They're worth supporting. The first secret that I will give you is this teardrop-shaped pad. It does a couple of things. First of all, it makes concealed carrying from appendix 100% more comfortable, and you can do it from the hip too. If you're an old school strong side guy, try it. This particular pad is made by Dark Star Gear. Filster also makes pads. There are other pads that are on the market. I've seen people buy a bunch of Dr. Scholl's foot inserts from the Walgreens and glue them together and make their own pads, custom. Cool, go for it. That's great. Here's what it does. None of this hard, nasty Kydex molded stuff is touching my body. What's touching my body is a soft pillow that presses against sort of the crease between my pelvis and my leg. And that gets filled up like this. It gets filled up by the pad, okay? The other thing that it does is that the classic problem with concealed carry is having the grip exposed, right? The gun cants out like this because I got a belly, and then the grip comes out like that, and I've got the gun sticking out this way, okay? That's no good. That will get you caught. What the pad does is the pad makes your belt DCC double foot. This is metal. Much better than plastic. If you have a cheap holster with plastic clips, upgrade it to the metal stuff before it breaks. Because when this plastic clip breaks, because you only spent $30 on a holster, you're going to be sorry. Okay? So upgrade to the metal DCC if you haven't already. That becomes a fulcrum, like a seesaw, like a kid's seesaw. As this pushes, my body pushes on that, look what happens to the grip. The grip comes in. And then this part here, this plastic chunk is called a wing. And the other thing that happens is that the belt comes across the double DCC clip and it hits this wing. The tighter my belt goes, the more the belt pulls on the wing like this, pulling the grip in. So I want the grip to be in, and I want the top of the gun to be in as much as I can. The wing and the pad do that, and they make it more comfortable. Last thing, retention. This gun is loaded and chambered right now. See that? If I cannot take a fully loaded and chambered gun, hold it upside down, and jiggle it around without the gun falling out, I don't have proper retention in that holster. Okay? I am not a cop. I do not get to carry a Safariland lunchbox on my hip that's this giant plastic thing with triple retention locks that they patented and all that. I'm concealed carrying. That's not an option for me. All right, so I don't have the levers and all that stuff that you get on those cop holsters. I need good retention. You should be able to feel it pop in and out. So that's out. And watch. Listen to this. Hear that? It should click into place because how the retention works is it works on the trigger guard. So the trigger guard is pinched in. When the trigger guard fully goes into the holster, it will click in and out of place. And that is adjustable to some degree by these screws that are holding the wing into place. That's how the holster works that I prefer to use. Now, I've got this gun loaded and chambered. It's the morning. I'm going to leave the house. Time to go get those burritos that I like so much. I'm going to go get a burrito for lunch. I'm going to do a dry presentation with the gun. I'm going to check that my lens is clean and clear. I can see through it. And that my dot is on a brightness setting that I want. Right now I want it on daylight bright. Generally, I leave my dots on daylight bright night and day. I'm not a dot fiddler during the day. So I set it daylight bright in the morning. I carry that gun and it's like 11 o'clock at night and I'm pumping gas or whatever. Guess what? It's still on daylight bright. But there's a reason for that. It's called a flashlight. I'll explain why in a minute. So with that being said, the gun's going to go in between my leg and my pelvis. It's going to go over the belt like that. The DCC clips clip into place nicely. They hold it well in place. You probably can't see this on camera right now. I am running a next belt. Also a fan of core. I like ratcheting belts. So I can finely tune how tight or loose the belt is. And here I am. This is me walking around the gas station, walking around the HEB. I'm shopping for some wings, shopping for that burrito at Chipotle. Okay, now, I am printing a little bit right here. If I aim it just right, can you see the grip? I'm pointing that out because a lot of people will call or email us and ask, hey, can you conceal carry with an Omega or is it too big? The answer is, yeah, you can conceal carry with an Omega. The Omega, even though it's a big window, is not the thing that's giving you away. The grip is what gives me away every time. All right, so this shirt's a little bit tight. I'm a little bit fat. It's protruding a little bit more than I would like, but here we are. This is pretty much how I roll. I'm going to talk about the PDP as my defensive tool of choice. The actual gun itself is not really that important. It's a polymer striker-fired gun. There's 100 other guns that are out there. It's just the one that I particularly happen to like. I like the trigger on it a lot. The use case application for me for the PDP is generally 5 yards to about 50 yards. If they are 5 yards or further away, out to about 50 yards or so, the PDP is going to be my choice. If they are closer than 5 yards, hopefully I can get a hand in my pocket. I'll discuss that in a minute. On my draw stroke, as I'm drawing, I start in the fence position. The fence position is, hey, I don't want any trouble. I'm compliant. My hands are up. I couldn't possibly hurt anybody this way, sir. And in 2025, that's really important because there's closed circuit TV cameras everywhere. And probably a judge and jury are going to be looking at who was the good guy and who was the bad guy. If I'm this guy and I'm backing up slowly, am I the aggressor? All right, there's a guy over there that's filming this on his cell phone shouting, "World Star! World Star!" All right, am I the aggressor if I start out this way? Something to think about. So I tend to start with a fence. When I draw, this hand goes to my fat belly and it grabs a fistful of clothing. There's guys that do this like I hook with my thumb and I sweep with my... No. I can't do that. I don't wear the same clothes every day. I need something that works no matter what I'm wearing. I'm going to grab a fistful of clothing. It doesn't matter if it's a button-up shirt. It doesn't matter if it's tucked in or not or whatever. It's going to be a fistful of clothing, and I'm going to rip it up to my chest. Ha-ha! The belly of power! Right? Maybe it distracts them. At the same time, this hand goes to get a master grip on the gun. This grip is tremendously important because this grip is going to be whatever I fight with. There's going to be no second chance of, oh, hey, I pulled out my gun funny. Hold on, don't shoot, wait. Okay, game on. It's not how it's going to work. I have to get a firm master grip on the gun before it comes out of the holster. At which point, this hand is up. This hand comes up high. This hand releases my shirt after this hand is above it so it can meet and greet up here. I'm trying to keep my head still, and I bring the gun up to my eye line to where my eye already is. Now, notice how close the gun is to my eye. I can already see my sights. I can already see that green circle dot, but the dot is really still relatively close to my eye. And as I press out, I'm going to refine my sight picture, and then somewhere here, I'm going to start breaking shots. That is what I'm trying to do. I'm working on this, my draw to first shot practice, because the closer the dot is to my eye, the bigger the window appears. The bigger the window appears, the easier it is for me to find my dot. there's a secret for you. Grab your sight picture with the gun close to you. I have a lot of police officers who come to me and they're like, we're transitioning to dots. The chief says we can finally get dots, but I really have a hard time finding the dot. And I say, how much holster work do you do versus low ready? And they go, huh? A lot of law enforcement training is done from the low ready position because cops, it's the difference between the law enforcement scenario and the civilian scenario. Law enforcement use case, civilian use case. Cops get to draw to low ready and issue commands to people to demand their compliance and place them under arrest. That's their job. That's what they get paid to do. They do it all the time. The guns come out and they start yelling, get down, don't move, whatever it is, whatever the compliance command is being yelled over the top of the gun as they're at the low ready position. But they're already fully extended and they're already gripping the crap out of the gun, especially if it's the real situation. And so when they finally have to bring the gun up to actually deliver rounds, the dot's small and far away. And the tendency is to bring the gun up too high and have to bring it back down, or to bring the gun out like this and then bring your head down to it. And what I call the tactical turtle, like that. I used to do that really bad. I've worked on getting rid of it. I still tuck my chin just a little bit. Work on ironing that out, okay? So my draw stroke is meet and greet up here, build my grip, get the sight as soon as I can, refine my sight picture, press out, and start breaking shots. Now, I'm done shooting. It's time to go back in the holster for my next repetition of training. What am I going to do? I'm going to lean backwards. I'm going to pull my fat belly out of the way. I can actually see into that holster, finger off the trigger, and I'm going to guide it in until I feel that click, that retention click. Now I know it's in the holster, and it's reset. That's why I think carrying appendix can be safer than carrying strong side or all this other stuff, because I can look myself into the holster and make sure there's nothing in the holster. There's no t-shirt or any material that could pull the trigger and discharge the gun. Let's do some live fire practice. Draw the first shot from 5 yards, 3 yards in contact distance. Your draw the first shot is your most powerful weapon as a concealed carry holder. Bruce Lee once said, I don't fear the man who has practiced 1,000 kicks one time. I fear the man who has practiced one kick 1,000 times. Your one kick is your draw to first shot. If you screw that up, it may be the last thing you ever screw up in your life. All right? Whatever practice you're doing, in my opinion, draw the first shot is the most important thing you can do to maximize your chances of surviving a lethal threat in the real world. That being said, let's hope I show you that I know what I'm doing. I'm going to be going for A-zone hits on IDPA target, but for purposes of this drill, anything that is in the target will be acceptable to me. Because, as my friend John Coria at Active Self-Protection says, the guy who gets the first hit on his target is generally almost always the winner. Because it results in something that John calls fibs. I've been shot. Yeah. So even if I don't hit exactly A-zone, hopefully I change their mind about how this encounter is going at that point. However, what I want to do is hit that A-zone because I need to stop them. Whether they die in the hospital later or whether I die in the hospital later is not really relevant in that moment. What's relevant is that guy's doing something and he needs to be stopped physically right now. The only reason why I'm going to pull a gun out is because that person cannot be allowed to continue to do the thing that they're doing. If that's not true, then my gun should stay in its holster and I should do something else. It's called preclusion. That's another one of those legal terms that you should look up. Could you have done anything else other than put holes in that guy? If there was something else that was more reasonable that you could have done, judge and jury are probably going to say you should have done it. Okay? It's not, when do I get to shoot the bad guys? This isn't Counter-Strike. It's, when am I forced to, as a matter of last resort, with no other options and no other choices, when am I forced to draw my firearm and shoot? I don't want any trouble. All right, 2 rounds down. Lean back. Now, if the gun goes off right now, because I screwed this up, what's going to happen? Bang! It will shoot a hole through my jeans and into the ground. Right there. That's what's going to happen, because I lean back like this. Okay? First shot, 1.63 with a 0.35 split. I've got 1 in the A zone and 1 slightly low left. What's low left mean? I didn't build my support hand well enough. All right? Total time, 198. So at 5 yards from concealment, I'm slightly under 2 seconds with a 50% A zone hit rate. Let's try one more. And my hands are really sweaty. Welcome to Houston. So that does not help my support hands cause very much. I intend to lean forward a little bit. All right, you might not have a chance to get into this stance. All right, I'm in my perfect stance here, like my fighting stance, like choose your fighter in a video game, right? You may not have the time to do that. Let's just try one like this. I'm taken by surprise. I'm standing normally. Just a normal guy. Much better. Didn't screw that one up. 2 beautiful hits right in the A zone. First shot, 158. Split, 032. Second shot, 190. Okay? Now, let me talk about this dot a little bit. Omega comes in 4 different SKUs. We got 2 red and 2 green. We either give you a plain 3 MOA red dot, just 3 inches at 100 yards, and that's all you get, or you get a circle dot, where you have the 3 MOA dot in the middle and then a sort of Stadia, cool-looking, sniper rifle-y looking circle around it, okay? Why do I carry the circle dot? Because up close, I want to make sure that I see that green, and I use it basically as a giant basketball-sized aiming point up close. At distance, when I'm at 20, 25 yards, 50 yards, I ignore the ring, and I just focus on the 3 MOA dot in the middle, and that's what I'm using to aim. But here at 5 yards, it's going to sway around. It's not going to hold still. It's not like a video game. I'm not waiting for it to hold still on the target. As soon as I see a big green basketball thing hit the A zone, I'm breaking off shots. Boom, like that. Okay? So I want, for myself, I want a big, coarse, in-your-face, bright dot that I can't miss for getting those A-zone hits up close and hitting where I need to hit. It's more precise than you might think, and it's definitely, for me, faster than just the plain 3 MOA dot. A lot of experts don't like the circle dot because it's too much information. It's a bunch of crap on my face. I don't need all that. I just need to look for the dot, okay? And I can work with that. I'm okay. But I do prefer the green circle dot if I can get it. Let's pace off about 3 yards. 1, 2, 3. We're going to call that about 3 yards. Why does 3 yards matter? Statistically, your average gunfight or shooting is 3 yards and 3 seconds and with 3 rounds fired. That's your statistical average, which means probably it never exactly happens, but if you take everything and you put it all together, then it's an amalgamation of what is likely to happen. If you want a book on the real statistics, and if you want to find out if you're any good at this stuff or not and compare yourself to shooters nationwide and worldwide, there's a book that I will link to in the comments by Karl Rehn of KR Training. It's a really good book. He's a better instructor. If you're down near the Austin, Texas area, visit Karl. He's way better at this than I am. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Draw the first shot at 3 yards. Perfect A zone hit. 119. It's a single shot in 119. Pretty fast. That's honestly about as fast as I can shoot. And that's 90% point shooting with a little flash of green in that sort of pumpkin-sized reticle because I'm this close. I saw just a little flash of green and I let fly. Now, it might be worth it for me in my practice to practice a draw to abort. See, if I did this enough, if I did this 20 times in a row, I could put a 1 second draw to first shot time on camera for you. Yeah, draw to first shot, 1 second. Yeah. Ooh, he's an expert. But I'll tell you why I don't care about that. Because that's not accountable. What happens on my 1 second draw to first shot times is that I have mentally made the decision that a round is going to go somewhere while the gun is still in the holster. And I can't really aim. It's just instinctual. My body's moving faster than my brain can think. I don't think that's legally advisable. So in real life, I don't try for a 1 second draw to first shot. I don't even try for it. I try for accountability. Can I draw to an abort like this? Don't move! Fingers out of the trigger guard. It did not come down into the trigger guard. I thought I was under lethal threat. And then as I made my move to draw the pistol, something in the situation changed. That cheap-ass, shoplifted $12 gas station knife got dropped onto the ground. He threw his hands up. He fell over. He did something that convinced me he didn't need to get shot today. Boy, that was close. But if I never draw to an abort, if I don't have the ability to stop myself from shooting, is that a super useful skill that I should be working on? No, sir. Accountability and safety matter so much. Way more than flexing a 1 second draw to first shot time on Instagram, in my humble opinion. All right, now I'm going to show you Houston low ready position. This is the secret. And that guy says, hey man, back off. I got a $3,000 AR with an EOTech on it at the house and it's only 10 miles that direction. Is that you? First shot, 0.74 with a 0.28 split. But rule number 2 is never point the gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. I'm going to break both of those right now. Because when I come up, but how much does that really matter?